Hello, and welcome to my video on the January 2019 Algebra 2 Regions, question number 22. Here we see we're told to consider f of x equals 4x squared plus 6x minus 3, and p of x defined by the graph below. And we see the graph of p of x below. The difference between the values of the maximum of p and the minimum of f is, and we have to determine that difference. Now, because we already have the graph of p of x, to determine the maximum of p, that should be hopefully easy to do. Because the maximum of p, hopefully you'd agree that this point up here is where we see the maximum. And now the thing is, you have to be careful. While this is the maximum point, the maximum is always the y value at that particular point, and at that point the y value there is 5, and thus that's the maximum. So the maximum p is 5. But now we have to determine the minimum of f, and f is given by this equation. So to determine the minimum of f, what we can do is we can go to our calculator, we can input this equation, and then find the corresponding minimum value on this particular function's graph. So if we go to our calculator, right, we can input our equation in where we go to graph our equations, and then we can go graph our function. And here we see the graph of our function f, the parabola, and here's our minimum point. But be careful to find the actual minimum of that function's graph. If we hit second trace, here's our options. We can find the minimum, that's option 3, but I'll remind you that this is also where we perhaps find any maximum or intersection between two graphs. But we want to find the minimum of our graph, so we choose option 3, and then the calculator asks us for the left bound. So since our minimum is down here and the cursor is currently on the y-axis, if I just move that cursor over until I'm to the left of that minimum point, and then I hit enter, and then the calculator asks me for the right bound, so I move the cursor so that I'm to the right of my minimum point, and then hit enter. And then for guess, you can just, my cursor is in the proper location, so I can hit enter, and here's our minimum. And the calculator gives us the coordinates of the minimum point, but like the maximum value to your function, the minimum value to your function is just the y value at that particular minimum point. And here that y value is negative 5.25. So that's the minimum to the function f. And so now if we subtract that minimum value of negative 5.25 from the maximum of p, which was 5, we will get 10.25, which is answer choice 4. So I hope that this video helped you out with this particular problem. As always, good luck with all your studies, and thank you for watching. Take care.